This has become a pretty new trend, but there are now things where we have on sugar dating sites the conventional sugar baby. For whatever reason, she's on the site because she needs help with, say student loans or college or, moving alone and being independent, needing help with bills, car payments, phones, has a single mom with a baby. And FinDoms, financial dominatrixes. They're just women that just want to be paid and get nothing and really offer nothing in return but just their domination and feeling like you just find a guy who's just basically a simp and will just give her whatever she wants with no expectation of getting anything back. And there are guys that are accepting this, and it's acceptable behavior for a FinDom to do what she does. But hey, I don't knock the FinDoms out there. Talk to plenty of them. And the other thing too is that there are also those women that are on these dating sites that their approach and what they're asking for absolutely is as a financial dominatrix. And someone have been smart enough to go and say, listen, I'm a FinDom. I'm dominant. You'll realize that. And then you'll say, okay, so this woman wants this much from a guy, and that's all there is to it. Like, it's not anything else more than just, you're not going to get anything pleasurable from her. It's like it's a tribute because you find her beautiful. You find her attractive, and she at least talks to you. Like, that's supposed to be like enough for you to go ahead and give. And I'm glad somebody put a story out there to finally talk about the difference with sugar babies and FinDoms. FINDOM. And it's amazing we haven't gotten this much talked about yet, because I'll tell you, it's a common thing, more than you think. It really is. Like, if you look for the word FinDom on Google, you finally get a Wikipedia and an Urban Dictionary definition where it's a current variant of BDSM. And financial domination is a very real fetish involving a submissive being forced to give money to the dominant. Now, the arrangement would be the financial dominatrix involves the payment of cash or gifts from a wish list by a money slave to a money mistress, financial dominatrix, or FinDom. You can also see FinDom as FINDOMME. And they'll also refer to the men who are the ones that are going to give money and gifts to. They call them pay pigs. So this is a real thing. It's amazing where it's gotten to the point, but here we go. And so the Daily Dot talks about this. And one of the quotes they take is, the reason I prefer FinDom is simply the rush of sending to a superior. So making men pay for you, your existence is in. From songs that declare rich bitch pussy only come for the check, to the fact that a growing number of people have their Venmo and Cash App in their bio. The idea of getting paid for nothing in return is an exciting one for many young women. Yeah, well, of course it would be. College students, especially in large cities, are quick to sign up for sites like Seeking Arrangement, seeking for sugar daddies to take them to nice dinners, buy them designer items, and treat them as if they feel they deserve. However, some young women don't find themselves with any desire to appeal to or spend time with the men they expect to pay them. They want the money and nothing more. And these women are FinDoms. So they refer to the definition as the act of a dominant having complete control over their submissive's finances. And in recent years, with the popularization of the niche kink on social media and shows like MTV's True Life, it's come to look like submissives sending cash to dominants as a form of sacrifice, called tributing, has gained more mainstream appeal. Yeah, it's now it's something that's a normalized behavior. I still think about a video I talk about when they talk about simps, and the fact that the word simps has become a place. It's because of the fact that there are now these nice guys that have now gotten to the point where they are just giving their money, not only their time and the supposed love that they think that will get back in return from the woman. No, they're getting nothing for it. And now they're taking their money from them. So it's like more of a manipulation than anything else. And guys, I implore you, do not fall into this. Especially if you're not rich. I mean, why would you want to give up all that money to someone that doesn't want you, doesn't want to be with you, doesn't love you, doesn't care about you, just because you find her attractive? There are other women that are just as attractive or more attractive that will not make you go through that. And just because she is manipulating you and putting you through that mind, that's also a narcissistic attitude. Ego. I deserve cash and gifts. I deserve things. That's the same thing as a narcissistic, emotionally, abusive, mentally abusive person. That's going to abuse you. Just because, when it comes to trauma, men get their own certain trauma. They can also get, assaulted sexually. They can also get emotionally and mentally assaulted or abused. And this right here is a form of abuse. Now, some guys will accept it, but it's acceptable. I don't expect the women that are doing this to be, castigated. But I prefer that they actually call that out because it is a kink, it is a fetish. And that's one that, I want women to be transparent about. If you're going to be a FinDom, fine. But please make sure you make a point of that. So that only the people that want to be in this will do this for you. Because there are plenty of guys that will do this anyway because they want to. Those are the ones you want. Not the ones you're going to manipulate and you're going to turn their mind and you're going to put them down. And you're going to make them depressed and sad and lonely and broken. And you're going to leave them broke. That's not the way to do that. That's not fair. Now, of course it's not fair, but it's also not right. Because if you're going to think you can do that for a while and you don't think that's going to change who you are and that's going to make you acceptable to a potential mate down the line, that's going to make you single for the rest of your life. Why do you want to do that? Why would you go ahead and subject yourself to just being that kind of behavior? Listen, and I've talked to some girls about this, and I'll tell you, I'll talk about the fact that you don't have to go through this anyway. If you are confident, you have your self-esteem, and it doesn't mean you have to have self-esteem that has to be the certain standard of everybody else. If you feel you have your youth, you have your beauty, you have your prowess, your presence. Guys want to give you stuff anyway. They want to do things to win you over, to win your favor, to win your love. That's what you take. And if the guys want to just spend money on you, let them. But also we sure that it's not like a love bomb. It's not like you're getting gift bombed and this guy's just doing all this to you. Because remember, what about these guys that are doing all this and they're just going over the top, being nice and loving and giving you everything that you want? Those guys are the manipulators and narcissists too. They're going to find their way to be patient and strategic and stealth-like to make sure they get you where they want you, and they got you. This is just the reverse. Doesn't make you any better. It makes you just as abusive. Just because a man's going to then just try to hold it in the inside and not to talk to anybody about it. Like, he's not going to talk to his bros and say, hey, man, I got this FinDom that's like, sucking me dry of money. She's bleeding me dry. There's no guy that's going to talk about that to their buddy. They're not going to talk to a brother or an uncle or a cousin or anything like that to talk about it. They're going to leave it to themselves. And that's the problem. So like the men, we don't have the same options to vent or talk about our emotional trauma or this kind of trauma here when it comes to a woman being a FinDom. Now, the men that send the cash are sometimes affectionately called financial submissives or FinSubs, but more, they're referred to as losers, human ATMs, pay pigs, and cash cows. However, in the online iteration fetish, their title doesn't matter compared to their wallets. And now they talk to some people that are financial submissives, and here's what he says. He's been in the community for 3.5 years. He's given about $25,000 he identifies as his superiors, and that financial domination is far more erotic than sugar dating can be. Quote, some of the reason I prefer FinDom is simply the rush of sending to a superior. I can't describe it, but it just feels amazing to know that I can have contributed to your life. And that the difference to me is sugar dating is more for companionship and dating. FinDom is a highly erotic relationship and extremely mental, which is incredibly arousing to me. Okay, so that's a guy that gets off on this. What about the guys that don't? There's a lot of guys that are caught up in this and become these pay pigs or these cash cows or these human ATMs or losers. And they're not getting anything out of this. They're not enjoying it. They're not. And most of the women that just want the money, they just want the money. It's not about anything else. So this guy has to basically program in his mind, he's getting off on this. That's the guy having to do that. The woman is not doing anything to do that. She's not offering anything to do that. I don't believe it. And now there's those that believe, and I'm telling you, women feel it more than anything else, that financial domination and sugar dating are two sides of the same coin. But here's the other question too. You know why the FinDom actually exists? I'll tell you why. Because I've talked to a few, and when I broke down why they did it, you realize that it's a reaction to what happened to them. Because they might have been different people. They might have been sweet, people-pleasing, loving, affectionate, and gave all their love to somebody or other men, whatever might happen. There's a long line of abuse that could have gone right before all this. And then what happens is this becomes a reaction where it's like, okay, there's a bitterness, a resentment. And some woman will just say, well, yeah, I'll go with the guy and, be a little bit companion to him. Like some sugar babies will be on here because she's gone through a lot. And then she'll just react and say, okay, well, it doesn't matter about, I'm not looking for anything more. I'll give in a little bit to you, but you're going to still give me a whole lot more in return. But then there's those women that only want to give companionship or even give it a chance at companionship or anything that feels like a relationship, which most sugar daddies want. Now they're making it to the point where, no, I'm not doing jack shit for you. Give me money. And guys, I'll tell you, if you're on a site and that's all the first thing that girl does is give you her Cash App name, especially to send something. Oh yeah, send me $500. Send me $50. What? Financial domination. That's a common thing. And I'm telling you, every guy out here needs to pay attention to this. And women, all I want to say to you is, if you've gone this route, look back inside yourself and realize, that money's not going to do for you what it does. Because most women that are FinDoms, they're just using the money and spending it because then it's like the money and the fact of the matter is the money doesn't even matter. They're just taking the money to get it. They're not using it for their own like investment or anything like that, most part. Maybe some are, but for the most part, it's not. The people that created you, that abused you to bring you to the mindset of this in the first place, that's wrong. And for you to take this kind of attitude towards the men, that's wrong. It's mutually wrong. Then they talked to an online dominatrix and one-time sugar baby, Sophia True. And she says, quote, the difference I found between sugar dating and FinDom was what the men expected from you. Not just what you give them, but what stereotype they want you to fit in. The men I interacted with expected me to be a naive, delicate flower that they could save and have me rely on them without actually being reliable. I will say I didn't stay in sugaring long enough to find a sugar daddy, just splendid daddies who wanted their egos stoked. Okay, stroked. Splendid daddies. That's funny. I didn't have the patience for them. So with that, I believe I was naturally drawn to domination. With FinDom, you can be whoever you want, whenever you want, and the men love it. If they don't get anything. As simple as that. You set your own boundaries and choose your clients to which you decide whether you'd like to continue into a more loyal, regular dom-sub relationship. Another FinDom they talked to, she says that I sugared after speaking with a friend who was really successful at it. I talked to a few people, went on some dates, and ultimately decided it wasn't for me. It was exhausting. I was talking to and going out with people who actually had no interest in actually being around. The men I encountered felt entitled to me and to a fantasy of me that I didn't want to provide. I know a lot of very, very successful sugars who have a lot of fun, but it wasn't for me. I shifted to FinDom and online domination when I started switching and discovered this side of myself. Yeah, switching so between dominant and submissive. And discovered this side of myself. I realized how turned on I got whenever I engaged with people online as a dom, which never happened when I was in my submissive side. Now, this is the other part. Nothing wrong with you want to be dominant. Like there's plenty of guys that love a good dominatrix and BDSM. Sure. That's definitely there. But like that's also in the same mindset of those that want to just give money because they get a thrill out of it. Like if the guy is getting a thrill out of it and he genuinely feels that, okay. You want to be a FinDom, please find those men. Don't fuck with the guys that are not into this and they're already their own messed up kind of thing where they're resorting themselves to this point anyway. Why would you do that to them? So financial domination can seem easy, but there's no such thing as money for nothing in return. You, rather, are getting paid for your presence, attention, consistency, and content. And it requires a significant amount of work. FinDoms will sell and create fetish video clips, fetish items like worn panties, meet clients for cash meets, sell their time. Right. Which is what a porn star is. Or somebody on OnlyFans. There's a lot more to this, and I'm going to hold on to that because I think I want to do a regular, like a 30-minute show on this. But there's more to be said about it. Like I could go on for hours. But this is a subject that is important to those out there because I also think there's some women out there just in regular dating that are FinDoms as well. And you need to point that out. I want both men and women to not go this route. Like it's already bad enough there's sugar dating and there's FinDoms in the first place that we've gotten to this point. Because we have a broken society where dating's all fucked up and everybody's all gone out being depraved and debaucherous.